What is going on? We are finally live, episode 20. We got Tyler and we
What's
got
up?
Todd. What's up?
What's up, guys?
How's
Man,
everybody doing?
I'm fantastic.
getting ready for an awesome show, settling in. So we already have a whole bunch of people jumping on board. So
Yeah.
we don't even have to worry about anything. We got Todd who's going to run the show for us tonight. And
right.
boy, oh boy, did we get a lot of information in behind the scenes. And I'm excited to talk a lot of stuff CowRC related for what Todd has to bring to the table. Yeah, no kidding. He's my hero now too, man. I learned a lot of things about this dude, and it was awesome to hear. So obviously, we're on episode 20. Thank you guys for joining us
Yeah, big deal.
again.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, it is our pleasure. So we have some wicked awesome giveaways. And actually, Tyler could probably show it off. He's got it right behind him. So we're giving away not one, but two of the small carbon series. Look at those bad boys.
Yeah.
They're definitely one of our favorites. So obviously, we're going to do best question like we always do. So make sure you get in your questions and or comments. So best question or comment gets one. And then the other one, you have to be on the show and message us semi-quick. But Todd, what's your nickname, bud?
Sweetness.
All right. So with that, look at this, guys. Sweetness is going to be the hashtag for the show. But for the hashtag, you're going to have to be on the show towards the end. So, man, we're going to have some fun with that for sure.
For sure.
That's awesome. I love that nickname. That's sweet.
Oh, yeah.
No pun intended.
That's when a joke goes wrong. So.
Yeah. So, well, actually, you know what? How did you get your nickname?
So I was doing a podcast, the TSR Speed Shop podcast. We were doing a Christmas show. And there was a bunch of us on the show. And we started talking about street outlaws and, Big Chief and all the guys, I can't even think of their names. And I thought it was funny. Like everybody had a car, a car named the Reaper, and everybody. I was like, forget it. If that's what it takes, I'm gonna have a nickname, and I got a car name for mine. And Tim's like, okay, so what's your nickname? I said, from now on, you guys are gonna call me Sweetness, and my car's the Sugar Shuttle.
Love it.
I was joking. Go to a race the following weekend, and a buddy of mine. Bob Wareham and his son Jesse Wareham come up to me and they're laughing. And Jesse hands me this shirt and he goes, "Here you go, Sweetness." And they walk away laughing, and I open up the shirt, and on the front in hot pink it says the Sugar Shuttle, and on the back in hot pink it says the driver Sweetness, and it is stuck ever since.
So we got all the hashtags coming in with sweetness right now, man. It's freaking hilarious, man. That's awesome.
So
and everybody's saying Dino can't play is what they're saying. So
that's right. Yeah, that guy wins everything.
Yeah, and the pink is my color. It's a funny story. So we do a lot of racing at night.
Oh.
I can't see.
Ah,
oh boy.
Good point.
I can see pink though.
Okay.
Nice.
I mean, it looks awesome behind you. I mean, I'm digging that color. It really pops.
Yeah. This is the pink, my Andy's RC bodies. So
yeah.
But at night, if you look right here, I try to keep the centers of my car clear.
Okay.
And that's so when I put a light on the chassis,
sure,
it shines up and I can see it, because I just turned 50 and it's even worse now. I can't see anything. So the brighter the better for me.
I like it. Oh, it looks awesome. That's a good story. That's hilarious. So it still sticks though, right? It's your nickname and everything till this day.
Oh yeah, you talk to Mike Mercadale and he'll be like, Sweetness.
The Sugar Shuttle.
I go to Texas to race and they're like, up next is Sweetness with the Sugar Shuttle.
That's lovely.
Nice.
I like
so
it.
It's rocking it then. That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of people are calling out the pink body, man.
Oh yeah, I just saw Tim Barth. That's a good guy, man. I've known Tim for quite a while from drag racing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
you
would
might
need the
see some
glow of the
people.
dark. Yeah, for sure, man. My eyes are definitely the best it's ever been in a while, but for sure crazy. So before we get into the cool RC stuff that we were talking about and everything like that, let's get a little bit of history about Todd, because not a lot of people realize that we're talking to a drag racing champ. So with that being said, you want to kind of touch on the drag racing scene a little bit, and we'll kind of ponder off from there.
Yeah, for sure. So I started drag racing back in about like 1989, 1990. I have a plaque on my wall right there. That's from 1992 at Drag
Wow.
Wow.
City in Colton. And, that's when I started drag racing. We started drag racing, foam tire cars, Parma cars with micro switches. We didn't even use
Mhm.
ESCs. We had, like 10 sub C cells with Astroflight motors, the
Ooh.
Astroflight top fuel cobalt motors with micro switches. And we were out, we thought we were fast. And, we ran fully prepped tracks, and I was super fortunate to run with guys that are like they may not be known, but they're legends, like there's Mike Smith and Jimmy Showers. Like Jimmy Showers, the Rain Man, was probably one of the fastest old guys you ever meet. And he was so nonchalant. He's like, oh, I don't know what my car is going to do. And then he'd get out and cut a tree, chop your head off, and drag you down the track. And
Jeez.
so I got to race with some old timers. I learned this. My first sponsor was Tim Smith and Craig Hashee. And those two guys, took me under their wing and taught me drag racing. And then years went by, and I stopped drag racing for a little bit. And that's when the RCDRL popped back up. And I started racing the Traxxas Funny Cars, the stock Traxxas Funny
Oh.
Car class, which was really fun. And, our idea of prep was a burnout with tires that were prepped with WD-40. And that was
Wow.
the extent of it, and the WD-40 softened the rubber, and we go do our burnouts on carpet. And I was able to, me and my teammate, I was able to lock up the 2015 RCDRL Traxxas Funny Car Championship, and that was fun. So that's where I got my first championship with the RCDRL. And then I've just continued to race since then. And the
Wow.
drag racing aspect of it has been pretty big since then, and basically when we lost one of our tracks is when guys like me, Tyler Zaffadale, Tim Smith, and John Schultz, Jonathan Schultz, all these guys, we started racing on the street with our cars. We had the first cash day that we ever had, and that was like 8 of us on a dirty road in Chino running pro cars. And then it evolved
Wow.
to where you'll see old videos that I posted of in El Camino doing smoke tire burnouts, and I called it El Guapo. And
Oh,
it was like
geez.
it was an old Traxxas car with a Parma body and on 3S and VLX, or no, in fact that was on a ballistic 550 3.5 turn Novak ballistic 550. And I would just sit there and just do smoky burnouts where the tires on this little RC car were just screaming and pouring smoke out of them. And then,
That
we
is
So
started
nuts.
fun.
racing. And then,
Wow.
no prep took off. Now look at it.
It's definitely pretty crazy. That is epic for sure, Tim. But I gotta say, so that was back 89, 90 is kind of where you got your start in California.
Yeah.
And now I know with the CowRC thing, you've been the factory driver. We talked about this earlier for 5 years,
Yep.
and you've been testing stuff for over 3 years. Now, tying it into the drag racing, what's some of the go-to items that you wouldn't leave at home when it comes to the CowRC stuff, specifically just for drag racing now?
For drag racing, hands down, always in my box, Utter Butter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Utter Butter is always in my box, and I use Utter Butter in sometimes a unique way, especially since we got the sprays, the Moose Slick, like the industrial grade, or the Moose Slick, the White Lightning grease coating, or the ultra thin oil with the PTFE. What I'm doing is in drag racing, we need as little friction as possible. And a lot of guys don't use grease. They just use oil and a couple drops of oil. And, we're running all metal transmissions and these things are getting hot, and they're you know, they leave little particles of metal, and eventually you're tearing up drive lines. Well, what I learned is if I take some of the stuff with the PTFE and my udder butter and break it down into a thinner coat of udder butter, and then I coat my transmission with that, I'm losing way less idlers, way less gears. It stays coated, and then after I'm done, I'm able to just put oil in through our transmission, because we have little tiny opening where I can oil it. But even when I pull it apart, I still have that main coat, even though I took out that main coat of udder butter, which just sticks around in it. It doesn't hinder how free my car spins, or, you know, it doesn't cause any additional friction because of it being thicker. That's why I thin it out, and it's the go-to.
I had not
That
heard
is a
that.
huge
That's pretty
tip.
cool.
No, like that's like some speed secrets right there,
Yeah.
especially using the CowRC products. I'm going to start doing that, because I was using the udder butter on my gears, but if I'm making it thinner, then it'll be more like my Mud Boss car, where you're getting less rolling resistance is what you were doing.
Yeah, less resistance, you know. But the caveat to that is we're drag racing. I do a lot of maintenance.
Right. So you're replacing that after. Now, how often are you kind of doing a whole breakdown of your transmission?
You know, it depends. Like we go out sometimes and we're testing hard. Like we're testing hard. There's times where, you know, like not a lot of people have a lot of faith in the GNSS, but you know, there's times I've pulled, you know, 4.5 G's on the GNSS, and you know your car's digging, and we're beating them up, and there's times I'm leaving the line where my first dot's at 75%, you know, on my R1 ESC, my first dot's at 75%.
That's nuts. Launching at
We're
that.
leaving hard, and so after a day like that, I'll probably go home, and it's really quick with my car. It's 6 screws. I can pull the whole tranny out, disassemble it, put it back together. And for me, it's just a precautionary thing, because of how hard I'm beating these cars up, and realistically, how far outside the scope of what the parts were really made to do. Because realistically, if you look at what we run, I run a low-C diff from an off-road car. I run a team associated top shaft and idler from a dirt car. None of those products were designed for what we're doing with them. So, you know, now that I have additional stress, I'm gonna put a lot of maintenance into my car, and my car gets broken down quite often. I mean, it's either every few times we go out and race, or every time we go out and practice it. And especially if it's a long practice day where I've got, you know, you got to understand, I test with sharks. Like I test with sharks all the time. You know, I got some of the fastest guys in the country. When we go line up just for a test day, it's Dave Longston, who owns 5 Star. It's Mark Vine. It's Frank Greer. It's Tony Ariano. It's you know, Chris Schwartz. It's Tyler Miller. It's hammers.
It's all the killers. It's all the killers, man.
Yeah, it's the killers. And you know, we may be friends, and we may have fun, and we may like to test with each other, but you know what? We're out there like off the trailer 148. Let's go. And we're pushing each other, you know, like the other day. Like the other day, Frank ran a extremely fast time that I know the time. I'm not going to say it until he posts it, but he beat me. And in my head, I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out. Can't let Frank
game on.
Game on.
So can you break it down a little bit slower? Because like Sean's like, when you break it down, the udder butter, are you just spraying it into a container? Like, can you break that down a little bit better for us?
So what I'm doing is I take the udder butter, I put it in like a cap. I just to get a little cap, because I don't use a lot of it. I don't grease the transmission heavy.
So you're taking like a syringe dollop of grease, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I can do it for you live right here.
Yeah, because I'm writing it down too.
Yeah.
Even better.
I mean, this is new to us. I have not heard this at all.
No, because like if you can have less rolling resistance, I know that's a huge benefit, because I've been doing it with the PTFE stuff with the bearings and all that stuff with the Mud Boss. So hearing this from him,
right here, I'll take about. I'm gonna just do it on this little metal tray I have, and I'll take a little dollop, about that much.
Okay.
And then I take the stuff with the PTFE, because the PTFE likes to stick to the metal. It works really good with the metal. And then I just spray it. And once it's sprayed, let me get something to mix it with so you guys can see. I'll just mix it with my finger, and then I'll wipe my finger. But you can see as I'm spraying it, it's breaking down into the oil, and all that now is what I'm using to put in my transmission. So it's a little
Wow.
bit thicker than oil, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not as thin as oil by itself. And
Right.
those little clumps, I just throw that in my transmission and
Okay.
let it get all over. But it's a lot thinner than when we started.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so
makes sense.
I have a gear. Do I have a gear sitting here? Hold on 1 second. Let me see. Do I have a gear sitting right here? So here's a gear.
Yeah.
And you can see when I take it and I coat a gear now, you see how it gets into the gear? It's kind of hard, but
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it coats the gear different.
Okay.
So now instead of sitting and sitting on top of my gear, I can actually get all that into my gear, and it meshes between all the teeth.
Nice.
And it's just all I'm doing is thinning it out a little bit, and creating less resistance in my transmission, but at the same time having something a little bit thicker than oil.
That's
you don't even know how many people after the show are going to be going doing this. You know that, right?
I've been doing it forever.
Stuff.
And you know, let me wipe my hands down real quick. Yeah, I've been doing that forever. And I started using that with the udder butter. I started using with actual like bearing oil.
Okay.
Until we got the ultra-light grease coating and stuff like that. And it just works so much better. Because I like how it coats it. You know, it leaves a substantial amount on the transmission gears, that meshing, and it's not enough to where, you know, you're packing that grease in between gears, and you know that can be a bad thing because guys will over grease stuff, and you start packing grease, and that grease gets really thick and nasty and dirty, and you know you can end up pushing your gears apart. And so I don't want any of that. What I want to do is I want my stuff to just mesh really nice, really clean, but I need more than oil because of how hard I'm hitting these cars. And I very rarely now go through transmissions.
Well, I mean, honestly, that tip that you're using, I mean, you know, it just the general purpose of not having to put a ton of grease on gears can go across all types of different RC you know, genres. Like I was just making a comment on a post earlier today, and someone they said pack your discs with grease, and I'm like, that's the last thing that you want to do. You don't pack anything with grease. You're coating things, and I mean, one you're wasting product no matter what type of grease it is, and two, you're killing your motor. It's just putting extra stress. And I mean, what you're saying, that type of thought process goes to RC all around, and it's surprising that a lot of people they think of it as like a real automobile where they're putting as much grease into something as possible because it's, you know, going fast. It's not going to be changed for 5,000-10,000 miles. But you know, we're just playing with little cars. It doesn't need that type of thick grease. It just needs a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. You know, especially like I said, the caveat to that is I do a lot of maintenance. It's not something I just leave. You know, it's something that if I went to a race and we tested Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we were done, I'd be okay with leaving it. It's good enough for that. Like, it's good. You know, get 4 hard days of testing, and I'm good. But, you know, in my mind, I already know, like, as soon as I get home, this whole car's getting broken down. The shafts, the shop shafts get pulled out. Like, the cars get broken down to just almost a kit. And then the whole car gets put back together. You know, I'm replacing screws. Like, I have a, you know, the Makita totes.
Yeah.
I have a Makita tote that just has every screw for my car. Every size. And you know, I know if I hit something because I'm using aluminum hardware, it bends. I'm getting rid of it. So it's basically full rebuilds after hard races.
Well, it totally makes sense.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you gave the caveat that you are maintenance oriented, because if you are doing what he just recommended, he's doing that for peak performance. If you are using it for a different application, you're not going to want to break it down like he just explained. Great tip, but use it for the purpose he's saying, which is peak performance. So keep that in mind. I love that.
I've tried it all different ways, and my most consistent transmission has always been with a little bit of udder butter broken down to a thinner product. So I'm really coating those gears, like coat them. And trust me, I know there's a million ways to skin a cat. I know you're going to have guys tell you, oh, you don't need to do that. You can just do this or this. I get it.
Right.
Sure.
I've had luck with what the products I've used, and that's the udder butter and the sprays. And it worked for me. I've had, like I said, very little transmission issues, and it's just my go-to. Like the udder butter, I use that on everything. Like I said, I use it on fishing
Trade
reels.
secret.
Yeah, I use it. I mean, I use it in my boat.
Sure.
My boat's gone over 100
shaft.
miles an hour with prop shafts. You know, the prop shafts greased with udder butter.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you're getting a little ahead of us now, but what is the mile an hour on your drag car? Because like I know what you told me, and it is amazing.
So my fastest pass on our street that I've pulled up is 99.98 miles an hour.
Really?
Yeah, that's my
so
fastest.
Close.
It's
Jeez.
so, trust me, man, I tried to throw like wrenches at it to get that little bit, and it went to like 97. So yeah,
Yeah.
You lost speed. Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
I gotta say, like my fastest pass so far, no prep, is 72 miles an hour, and I was like, yes, I finally got over 70. So I know I got a lot of work to do. I feel like I got the stuff to do it, and I'm gonna be bugging you for sure.
No.
I definitely feel it.
Anybody, I don't care if it's you or anybody watching. Like I'm one of those people. I don't care. This is a hobby, and I want to see everybody have fun and grow in the hobby. Right? It should be
That's
about sharing, educating,
Yeah.
just teaching. Like share what you've learned. You know, just because you give somebody your tune doesn't mean that they're gonna go out and beat you. There's
Right.
still this
No.
little process that's involved in that, and that's called application, right? Just
Mhm.
because I give you my tune doesn't mean you can apply it, right? It took
Can't put it
years and years
down.
and years for me to
Yep.
learn how to apply my tune. So I will graciously give anybody my tune, my setup, and everything, because that's going to give them the ability to learn how to go out, take what I've learned, and learn how to apply it themselves. And my thought is realistically, hopefully they get better than me and faster than me. And then at the back end, they take some time and teach me something.
Well, I mean, that's what grows
Yeah.
the hobby. It's the last thing of the hobby needs is for somebody to try something and get frustrated and nobody's there to help them. And then what happens? They sell their car and then they move on to some other hobby. And then if everybody does that, all of us that know what we're doing don't have anybody to race with or have any fun to play with these toy cars with. So it's always like you have to keep growing the hobby and teaching and helping. And it's just amazing that it's a very simple thing and a very courteous thing to do. You're not going to just lose your spot automatically because you gave somebody a tip.
No. And you know what? Like I would be stoked if I went out to a race, helped some dude, and he put the gap on me. I'd be like, good damn job, bro. Like that was a race. Like
you
I don't
helped them get there.
Yeah, like I don't own a tow truck company. I don't want to drag people every day. I want races. Like
Yeah.
I want to race people. I want them to be fast. I want it to be close. I want it to be exciting. Like that's where it gets exciting when you guys are just nose to nose through the traps.
Yeah.
And it's a hard race to call. Like that's good racing. It's not good racing when you drug somebody down the track by 40 cars. Like what?
Yeah, you got bus lengths on them and stuff.
Yeah, and so now that person's like sad, that person's upset. Like it makes it not want to race anymore.
Exactly.
And that's the last thing we want is this hobby or this segment of it to die.
Right.
And that's why, with me and it comes to tuning and helping, I'm an open book. I've literally posted my whole tune on the 5-Star Facebook page, showing everybody exactly what I did, how I did it, because I want them to go fast too.
Well, it's like you, Adam. I mean, you like doing mechanic work more than you like racing, right?
Yeah, because my kids are getting faster than me, so I better learn how to do the mechanic work, and it's coming on quick. But we have somebody here asking, who paints your bodies?
So all the solid pink is done by me. Okay. And then I have some amazing paint. Like
that is amazing.
This was done by Bob Hamilton. So,
Wow.
Mr. Bob Hamilton, he killed it on this one, and he got mad because he's like, "You didn't run it." I'm like, "It's too pretty."
Yeah, no kidding. I'd be
Yeah,
scared
right.
too.
So
Heck yeah.
Amazing.
That is nice though.
threw a real carbon fiber wing on it,
Woo.
and then
Wow.
we'll hang it right back there where it looks pretty.
Yeah. No, you can see it. It pops in the
Eye
camera for
candy.
sure. So there you go, Sean. I think it was Sean who was asking who did the paint there. So I can't believe that was just that was 20 minutes of just talking about udder butter and how you mix it. That's crazy. So that's one thing you bring to the drag race, and I know there was something else. Yeah, man.
Oh,
This right here, this shouldn't just say tire wash. This should just say awesome wash, because this does everything. I literally use it to clean the muck off my boat. I clean my bodies with it. I clean my tires with it after drag racing. But the seller of it is, last week when we were testing, I was drag racing, our hands get nasty, dirty.
yeah.
I pull it out and start cleaning my hands with it, and I tell Dave, the owner of 5 Star, I'm like, "Dave, you got to use some of this." And he tries it. He's like, "Man, now I got to go buy it." It cleans your hands, all the gook, and we're not having to use like really harsh chemicals, because a lot of guys will clean their hands. Brian Elkins, I've never heard of her either. I love that guy. That's one great guy, man. Florida Flintstone.
There you go.
Florida Fred Flintstone. That dude, he's like barefoot all the time.
That's awesome.
He cracks me up, dude. That is one great guy that'll tell you how it is. He will call it like he sees it. But yeah, I use that instead of using harsh chemicals to dry your hands out, and basically, some of the stuff we're using brake clean to clean our hands. Like,
oh yeah,
it's toxic, it's cancerous,
yeah, that's bad.
And so, when I can just reach over across my table, grab some CowRC Moo Clean Tire Wash, and clean my hands, and it's not going to hurt me.
Yeah.
It's not toxic.
It smells good.
It smells good. It works great on my tires. So, it's a fantastic product. But you know what? The product that everybody in the pits loves? Right here. The Jet Blaster.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was telling you about that earlier with my experience, and it was crazy. But now that I'm going indoors, I'm going to actually have to buy the one with the adjustable speed, because I cleared off somebody's pit table by accident, and I felt horrible because I was like plugging it in, didn't realize that the switch was on, and it was just sitting there facing in his general direction, and everything started flapping, and sure enough, it caught and gone. I was like,
it's like a fire hose out of control.
It works so well.
I felt so bad.
Yeah, it works so well because, us running on the street, we get all that street dust and all that really fine dust and debris in the car. And you're able to just take the Jet Blaster, and right there, we keep it on the table, and we blow it right off.
Yeah. It's funny because
what's my nickname?
Yeah, and hey, if you hashtag his nickname, you could be entered in for one of the prizes. Yeah, no, Johnny, it was no joke, man. Like I even felt bad. I went and helped him pick up all his stuff. Oh, geez, it was crazy. So now I know that having the lower setting is a cool option for indoor on road or off road. Definitely use it to clean up the pit mats and all that. Yeah, honestly, the tire wash has been one of the go-to ones now, and I think that anybody that's actually had the opportunity to try the tire wash has been thoroughly impressed. Not only is it good for tires, not only is it good for your hands, I'm the hide wipe hoarder, so I'll even let it sit there, and if it's a little dry, spray it with a little bit of hand wash, and you're good to go again. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the same product. It's the same, the chemicals in the hide wipes is in the tire wash. It's the same product.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So, man, flying along, we're already halfway through this show. We haven't even talked about boats yet, and I know that you've been doing for Oxidean Marine. You got a crazy record that's still in the top 5 today. And man, kind of like you want to explain people like kind of like how you got the record and what you're into with that, because I think that that's pretty damn cool.
So yeah, I started racing RC boats, and I started with the company. Oh, I started racing electric RC boats before I got into big gas, and I started running this boat called Pro Marine, and it was, you know, the owner, Michael Stancombe, was a super nice guy. He helped me along the way, and I learned a lot from him. And then I just had this thing in the back of my mind, like I was like, 60's fast, but 100's cooler. I'm like,
Triple
I want to go
digits.
100. And
Yeah,
so then
man.
I started like researching like how to go 100. And it's not like at the time when I did it, it wasn't easy. Like there wasn't a lot of info out there. And I dug and dug and dug. And then it was like, okay, I need to buy a boat. And so I went to a RC Hobby Expo at Pomona, and I went and looked at every single boat you could possibly buy. And I looked at the Oxidean boat hull. You know, I bought just the hull, and I looked at it multiple times. And you know, I finally waited till the end of the event. And I went over to Bill. I'm like, all right, I want to buy the boat, but I want a smoking deal. And I said, and then I want to go 100 with it. And he looked at me. He goes, "You gonna go 100?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to go 100." And he kind of smiled. He goes, "I'll tell you what. I'll give you a good deal on the boat, and if you go 100, I'll send you a Dominator V hull in the same carbon fiber Kevlar that you buy this boat in." I'm like, "All right, I'll do it."
Wow.
And so then it's like I went out and bought the motors. I bought the ESCs. I built the boat. I was talking to this guy from Canada. His name's Paul. He used to do or still does nuclear grade welding, but he was really good into boats. And the guy was like crazy good with able to get in there and do props. And props is like a whole art form. And so, you know, I got some props, and I had, you know, all these custom props made, and we just started grinding and learning how to do it. And then it's like, at first, when I first started, I thought a polished hole, like a super smooth hole, was the way to go. And then
Yeah, it makes sense.
you start doing research, and it's like, that's not the way to go.
Huh.
It sticks. Water sticks to super smooth surfaces, is what I'm learning. And so then I actually got out in my pool, and I started swinging like the boat around, and realizing at high speed the boat was sticking to the water because of the smooth surface. And so that's when I learned, okay, I need to cross sand my sponsons so it'll aerate the water and release the boat from the water at high speed. And so then I started learning how to tune a hull and learn how to tune the sponsons and do all this stuff and cross sanding, and there's a lot to it, you know. And then it's like, okay, I'm going so fast, I better throw what's called an inlay in my boat, where I'm taking the carbon fiber Kevlar boat hull and inlaying the inside for rigidness and you know, structural strength with carbon fiber, you know. And you get in there and do epoxy and make it look really nice. You can't have it too wet. It has to be like a dry epoxy. And there's a lot to it, and the types of epoxies you use. Like, and then it comes down to, I ended up using the same epoxy they build real boats with. West, you know, it's called West Marine, and it's like the best epoxy you can get. And so I start using that, and then I get the whole blueprinted, and I go through all this work, and I finally get out, and it's like, start hammering. I'm doing 80. I'm doing 90. On my 20th trip, we were in San Diego, and I was with a bunch of buddies, and we cracked 105 miles an hour on the San Diego little pond. I mean, it's tiny pond. It's where they race gas boats, but we cracked 105, and I called Bill. I'm like, "Man, I got a problem." And he's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Man, it didn't go too well." And he's like, "Dude, what happened? What do we need to fix?" I'm like, "I only cracked 105. And he's like, "What?" And I sent him the GPS, and he's like, "Yeah." And he kept his word. He sent me the boat, and you know, I got the Dominator here, and I have fun with that now. And now I have a new record I want to push. He sent
Can you show that off?
Yeah, he sent. So if you look right here, this is another boat.
Oh, wow!
So he sent me this boat. This is a 45-inch carbon fiber, and I helped him design this. We call this the Beast. So it's set up for 8S a side. And then one of the cool things that he let me design that a lot of people don't like, but I freaking love, the gold controller.
That's awesome.
I said, "I'm solid gold, baby. If I want to go out and do this, I want to have a gold controller." And so he built me. he built me a gold controller, and that's what the beast comes with, is the gold controller. And then he was like, what do you want it to do? I said, I want it to do everything. And he's like, all right. He's like, I see that you taped the GPS onto the top of the boat. He's like, let's integrate it. And so he integrated the GPS into this. So that controller has a GPS built in. So as I'm running, you can hear the lady talk, and you can pick the accent. So I have a British lady tell me 25 miles per hour, 35 miles per hour. And so it's cool. Like it tells me how fast I'm going now. And this boat, my goal for this boat is I want to push 120 on 8S.
Wow.
Insane.
Have you started building it yet, or is it just the hull?
No, it's ready to go. I just, it came as an RTR kit. And that's the thing, is I want to do it with an RTR. But there's some real little things that you have to do to an RTR boat to go out and push it, right? And the problem is these holes are two pieces. So they're seamed together. What happens is water at over 80, 90 miles an hour becomes hard like concrete. So I have to do little things to it, like I pour the tips with epoxy, right? But you got to know how to do it, because epoxy gets hot and it can warp carbon fiber. So when you go tip a boat, it's basically I take the boat and I set it up in a bathtub, and I pour it. Well, the tip of the boat's in water, so the epoxy doesn't overheat the carbon fiber and warp it. And then I pour about this much of each tip of that boat's solid epoxy. So if I hit something, it's stronger. And then I'll run banding down the sides of it in carbon fiber, and I'll epoxy in I don't do the whole inlay now. I just epoxy the sides, and I'll do and that'll just strengthen the hole from the seams from splitting. And then I'll pour epoxy in the front seam, so it's stronger, because the front seams will split too. And so I do a little bit of work to get a RTR boat prepped and ready to run. And a lot of people tell me it's not RTR anymore, but it's more precautionary, because I can't afford to replace those. Like, I can't just throw them away.
Right.
So I do a little bit of work to prolong their life with me, because they're pretty beat on when I'm done.
Now, are you worried about weight when you're putting the epoxy reinforcement, or does that not really matter?
I don't worry about weight, because like a drag car, weight bias is everything, right? And so with boats, I'm moving batteries back and forth to create a bias on how the boat sits in the water. So, I start with them really far forward. I'll go pull a run and see how it is. And then I start moving those batteries back and back and back and back and back till I basically have about this much of the whole boat in the water. And I'm lucky if it's even that much. Sometimes it's just props in the water.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. That seems real technical.
I think I know the answer to this, but CowRC make a wax that will work on a hull. I know the answer to this because he was telling me about the aeration and then getting the bubbles underneath and getting maximum buoyancy. So
no wax. I don't wax anything. The top of it I'll wax. Like, it looks pretty on the top. I'll wax the top. Once again, it's one of those things, you wax the top of the hull for aerodynamics, right? You want to slip it through the air as efficiently as possible. So yes, like, do I wax the top of the boat? Yes. But the bottom half of the boat, no.
So, okay. So wax does make it slower, Tim. That is correct. Yes, it does. I learned from him. I don't know personally, but wax definitely.
I just learned that now. I honestly thought, I was like, if you slick it down, it's like National Lampoon's Vacation, and he sprays the bottom of the sled and it flies. Well, maybe that applies to snow, but apparently not water.
So if you were to take like a sheet of plexiglass, right, just like this big, and go put it in your pool and like make it so you can pick it up and slide it across the water and try to pick it up, you're going to see that it's going to stick to the water, because it's so smooth. It's a smooth surface, right? Yeah. Two smooth surfaces stick to each other. So the idea behind that is you sand it, and I like to do a cross sanding pattern, and basically now that rough surface kind of releases the hull from the water, and it doesn't keep it to it. It lets it release a lot better.
That's amazing. I never knew that.
Cool. So obviously we know you utter butter the prop and stuff like that. Is there any other CowRC products that like you use on the boats for performance? Possibly one, or is it just for maintenance and things like that? Like what do you put into your program for boats?
So like when I'm done running, sometimes,
Mhm.
sometimes the boats will get water in them. Sometimes the water's pretty nasty. Boats, when you're running high speed boats, it's one of those things that it gets disassembled all the time. Stuff moves. You take hits. I've chucked my boats 20, 30 yards in the air and they've
Wow.
hit. So, I've taken them apart and I always do a ton of maintenance. But the one thing that I really like to use on the inside of my boat to clean all the grease and clean everything off after I'm done, after like a hard day of running, is I go to Moo Clean. I put it in the bottle, I spray it in my boat, and it cleans everything up.
So you're doing the part and chassis wash then?
Part and chassis wash in the boat.
Nice.
That is pretty cool because like obviously everything's got to be waterproof.
It is water-ish proof.
Really?
Water-ish proof. Yeah, it's water. Like, so even that's a whole, like guys use the conformal coating and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't use that. I don't put any of that stuff in my ESCs. I don't have a bottle of it, but it's a green bottle of this spray. I cannot for the life of me remember, but it's for boating, and it waterproofs stuff. And I'm able to just take a standard servo and spray it in my servo, and it keeps it waterproof. It keeps my ESCs waterproof. That's the conformal coating. Yeah, I
love the formal coating because like ever since they turned me on to this, I've been doing it for my kids stuff, and now I'm not scared if they bring it out and it gets a little sprinkly and this and that. Whereas before, if it even had a hint of a drop of water or even somebody down the block turned the sprinkler on, I was like, bring that in. Like, don't even, So now I let them run through puddles and stuff like that. And we haven't had any issues. And as you guys know, I run teak and everything. So teak and stuff does not come waterproof. I'll tell everybody that right now, not waterproof. But with the waterproofing from CowRC, we were able to basically protect our electronics and get a little bit more longevity out of it. I can't believe you're not waterproofing a boat though. Like that blows me away.
Well, so here's the problem. Like conformal coating is a great product, but when I'm running boats and it comes out of the water and it lands on the rudder, my servo is destroyed.
Oh, okay.
So
you need to get to it,
and I would at the time, I was running NKS servos, and so I would use a servo that wasn't even meant for what I was doing with it. It wasn't waterproof, and I would take this can of spray stuff. I'll figure out what it is and I'll let you guys know. I can't think of the name right now, but it makes it waterproof. And so I had to come up with a way on the fly. If I crashed the boat, I would be able to just take a brand new servo, spray it real quick, and get back on the water. If the ESC came up, or the ESC blew, I was able to grab a brand new one and just spray it real quick. Open the case and spray it, and it was waterproof. Like I had to come up with something that would work on the fly. And so this spray, I can't for the life of me, it is gonna drive me nuts because I use so much of it and I can't think of what it's called because I haven't done any boating in a minute. But this stuff, it literally waterproofs it. I've sunk boats in salt water with no damage. I've had boats sit underwater 20 minutes, 30 minutes to get it.
Wow.
It was, the stuff just worked. And so it smells goofy, but
is that why he's calling you scuba? Like, because somebody's teasing you about going scuba diving.
Oh, dude, so look it. When you're new to boats and you crash a new boat and you go swim for it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. It's the worst idea ever. In the hobby, no, it's serious. Like in the hobby, we lose about 2 to 3 people a year. People's lives are lost swimming for their toy boats.
Really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a serious thing, and so I learned after I posted a video of me swimming out to get a boat, and I took it off because I got a couple lectures and some links to people actually passing every year. And so in the boating hobby, we lose a couple people every year swimming to boats. You know, we're old
Didn't
fat
know.
guys that can swim in a pool, but when you
Okay.
get us out in a lake or a river that has a current and undertows and all this other stuff, and
No bottom.
you know, and no bottom, and you know, we're not in the shape we used to be in, and some of this guys forget that. You know, we're spicy ass old guys that want to go out and get our boat back because we just can't we can't picture losing all that money. And yeah, so I learned a
Bonkers.
lesson. That's why I don't scuba dive for boats no more. I don't
Just
swim
let it
after a
go.
boat. You have to put a value on yourself versus a toy, and that's why I learned how to. The best thing for boat recovery is a Zebco reel and a tennis ball or a softball, and make sure you use lots of pool foam. For every 1 foot of pool foam can hold 6 pounds. You know the float tube?
Oh, the noodle?
It's like 6 pounds per foot.
Interesting.
Cool little shape lice.
So, yeah.
Okay, that's a good math equation there. I like it.
If you think about it, look, and that's holding 6 pounds at water, at the top of the water.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, you can take a single pool float and sit on it, and it'll hold you buoyant to like up to your neck.
Yeah.
So they're pretty. You know, that's the one thing. Pack your RC boats with a lot of the pool noodle.
Okay.
And you'll be fine.
See, there
like
you go.
it.
Another tip.
CowRC pool noodles.
I didn't realize that like people would perish from that, but like you
I
just
didn't
made
either.
total
Makes
sense
sense.
because like yeah. Like,
please, if you guys run RC boats, please never swim for your boat. Never swim for your boat. Your boat is not worth seeing your guys' smiling faces on here.
That is so true, man. Because
That's
like
the tip of the day
the
for
stuff
sure.
can ultimately be replaced. You can't. So wow, that is crazy. Yeah, no, I seen a whole bunch of boat towing rigs and stuff like that, but like I didn't realize like that. Yeah, that's like a Snapple fact. Yeah, man. Like it's just wow. That kind of threw me for a little loop there for sure. But so we got the udder butter. What other types of products do you use on your boat? You got the chassis cleaner for inside.
The parts and chassis wash. Yeah, I use the udder butter. The boat's pretty simple. There's not a lot to it. The boat's actually a lot more maintenance than it is anything else.
Okay.
It really stands for boat. Bust out another 1,000. It's boats are a whole nother ball game, and the only moving parts, you got a motor and a prop shaft.
So. Yeah, so it's pretty bonkers. So obviously you've been testing for Heath as well, and a lot of people don't realize how much goes into testing and behind the scenes. And I know you got man.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Test bottles.
These are old. Heath does not play. He'll put a group together. He'll get guys that he knows that can put these products through their paces. None of the stuff that we get from CowRC that has the CowRC label on it. These products right here, this isn't over-the-shelf rebranded stuff. We are super fortunate to have a guy who's as passionate about maintenance and lubrication and parts and chassis washes. He's more passionate about it than I am, and he's more passionate about it than anybody I've ever met. And these products aren't click and paste products. He's not calling somebody and saying, "Hey, can you rebrand that product? I really like it." Right. No, Heath is out putting in the work, formulating his own formulas. He's working with the scientists to do it, and the chemical developers to do it, and the companies that make the chemicals to do it. And these don't really see the public eye, or even some of the other team drivers. They doesn't really even see there until he has faith in it.
That's right.
And yeah, it takes a long time, and just because one guy may think it's good, that's not good enough for Heath. Heath wants a product that's great. He wants a product that stands out and creates a definite separation between him and any other product out there like that. And he does that. Not only does he do that with the products that he makes, but with how he runs the CowRC team. This is the only team that you're going to ever be on, where every single driver welcomes every single driver. And it's not, welcome to the team. It's welcome to the farm.
The
Yeah,
herd
right.
and all
Welcome
that,
to the
the
farmer.
pasture, there's so
Welcome to the
many cool
pasture.
things.
This
Man.
is a very eclectic group of RC racers, and we cover a spectrum from guys that run crawlers to drift cars to drag cars to off-road. It's so vast, and we have so much talent on our team. It's not even funny, and it's such a great group of guys, and I'm super fortunate to still just be welcome on this team and be part of this team, because man, there's a lot behind the scenes that goes on at CowRC. He is 100% your RC maintenance king. He is the king when it comes to maintenance, and it's a hard segment for one company or one person to kind of dominate, because a lot of guys don't really look at maintenance like, some WD-40 or some Windex or some Simple Green. But
Windex.
he looks at that. There's a chemical in Simple Green that reacts to certain parts of plastic or changes plastic.
Right. And not RC safe.
Yeah, it's not RC safe. And everything that he puts out for us to use, he makes sure that it's not going to affect the plastic. It's not going to affect anything. It's RC safe. And that's pretty awesome.
Well, no, you had, hold up that beta can that you had of the ultralight grease. So that's the ultralight grease, which is
this.
Right here. Yeah. So that, and how long have you had that? That's probably 2 years old at least, right?
And it's like I use a lot of it, and I still have a lot of it.
Well, but that's like, but my point is like your can that you're holding is probably 2 years old, and the can I'm holding was released. What was this? Maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And so that's how long it takes to test this stuff, because it needs to pass everybody's approval. You're using it, Todd, for boats and drag race cars. I'm using it for crawlers. Other guys using it for planes or drift cars. Like Adam's using it for race cars. Like we're all using it for different things, and it has to really work well for all of those things, because you can't go and say like, well, hey, you can use this on this vehicle, but if used on this vehicle, it'll catch fire. Like that's not an option. It needs to work for everything, so that way people can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Not only that, he does all the investigating purposes and goes with the chemical stuff and does all the behind the scenes stuff. And that's how he can back it with a money back guarantee. How many other people in the industry can offer such a great thing? And you know what? The things that he does for the customers is just over the top cool. He definitely makes sure that when he releases something, it's been through a plethora of changes, testing. Like he wants people to beat the stuff up, and he wants to make sure that it's ready for sure.
The impressive part though is Heath isn't just someone that points a finger and says, okay, let's make it better. Like if you sit and talk to Heath about the chemicals, he really knows about the chemicals. He knows about every part of the chemical that's in every single one of his products. He's not just paying people to make this stuff for him. Heath is heavily involved. He knows every aspect about every part of every chemical. He may not understand what each one does individually, but he knows why they're in there, what they're using it for, and how they're using it. And it's pretty impressive when you talk to him about the breakdown of some of the chemicals or having an understanding of what they are. He when we first got these other ones, the prototypes, and I talked to him on the phone, it was pretty impressive to hear how much he really knows about it and every part of it and every aspect of it and why it's in there, what it's doing, what he's trying to accomplish. It's pretty impressive.
You can tell he's passionate about what he does, and it is so cool to see. And it just transforms into awesome products being released. Now, I know he's always got stuff waiting for us in the wings, and he's always trying to one up and step up the game and everything like that. Like these new bags he just released, those things are straight up fire.
Yeah,
the
that's so cool.
On them,
They're
and
so nice.
Man, it is super awesome to see. But like, I just know that when he brings something to the website, which we're going to show off here shortly because we're almost out of time, he makes sure that the whole team has gone through and put it through its paces. And like Todd was saying, it's crawlers, it's boaters, it's flyers, it's this, it's that. We got basically every genre of RC covered in our team, and that's what makes our team so special. It's not just one type of RC thing, it's the whole gamut. And it is extremely fun to see all the posts coming from everybody. I know it's one of the first feeds that I go to whenever I have a second on my work break or this, that, and the other, because it just puts a smile to my face, kind of gets me out of reality for a sec, and it kind of gives me a little, okay, reset button, and then, okay, I can finish off the last 2-4 hours of work with no problem.
Yeah, it's crazy. And people, there's a lot of people that don't even realize this. Here, I'll throw a piece of CowRC history. You two might know it. USGMAC. Is that what it is? US Gun Mat Company?
Yeah. I think
he had a whole line.
Rebranded it, but yeah.
He had a whole line making the CowRC mats for gun builders. In fact, I bought that for my father-in-law because my father-in-law is a huge hunter. And you go to my father-in-law's house and he has a US Gun Mat Company mat that he builds his guns on, and he has all the chemicals. Yep, there it is, USGMC. And so he has all the chemicals, and he always tells me all the time, best stuff I've ever used for my guns. And he's an avid hunter. I mean, this guy's hunted Africa. He's hunted Africa multiple times, and he tells me all the time, hey, where do I get some more of that stuff? I'm gonna need some more of that stuff. It's like, what stuff you need? I'll get it for you. But in coming from an avid hunter, I mean, the chemicals that Heath makes, they work.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, we were joking about it earlier. Like, I know you still got your first mat, I still got my first mat.
Yes.
But that one that you got donated kind of vicariously through Tim Smith there, man, that was money too. Like, geez.
Give me 1 second and I'll show everybody.
All right.
Let me clean it off.
Well, hey, while he's going through that, so like kind of talking about testing products and new products, I kind of wanted to just quickly introduce a new product that's going to be coming out here in January, which is going to be this Reservoir Bristle Brush. So what this is a basically handheld, brush, and it has a reservoir you can put cleaner in it. So if you see, I'm spraying cleaner, and this is the tire wash. So I'm spraying cleaner on the tire, and that way it actually allows you to clean your tire, mobilely. So like Adam, for you being at the racetrack, you can do this right at your pit, especially with the Carbon Series mats, keeping all the chemicals kind of contained in here. And I found it, really kind of nice is what I do is I usually clean my tires at the mudroom sink. And, you got to bring all the stuff with you. You got to bring, the tires, you got to bring some cleaner with you. And this whole thing, and a brush, and I was usually, Heath always made fun of me because I used to use toothbrushes. I'd take old toothbrushes, and that's what I would clean stuff with. And so having basically a 3-in-1 or 2-in-1 piece of equipment to, you can put part and chassis wash in here. I have tire wash in here right now, but just a really cool tool. So this is going to be out. Heath's ordered these. These are going to be out here in January. So something to look out for. Going to be a really cool tool to add to your collection.
Yeah, I'm going to have two of them, one for the chassis wash and one for the tire wash, because we have the tire wash cleaning station and we have it hooked up to a drill. And having that option when we're not as bad, I love it. And we're going to be testing it out quite a bit, and you're going to see some pretty cool content coming with those new brushes. It's going to be money for sure.
All right. So I got this mat. This is something that a lot of people won't see. This is carbon fiber CowRC logo, black mat. So this mat was made by Heath for Tim Smith. And me and Tim Smith we used to be really close, and he knew I needed a CowRC mat. And so Tim Smith, after he got it from Heath, he gifted it to me. I've had this mat for so long. You don't ever see the black with black carbon fiber come around very often, but it's right there, CowRC.
That is classic, because I know I'm so thankful that he brought back the Stealth Series mats, because man, like I was so jealous whenever those sold out, and I'm like, man, why am I so like reluctant to finally get one? Because whenever the black came out, because he only did limited runs of this black, and
Right.
I was always off road, so I'm like, I'll just get it when I go on road racing. I go to order it, it's like sold out. I'm like, what? Yeah, so like I never did it. Yeah, only 20 of those were made ever.
Wow, you had to hold on to that.
Yeah, man.
It's like coming apart in the
That's
front,
sick.
but I still keep it. Like that mat will be there until I have none of it left. That is
Hey, yeah,
that's my baby.
hey, yeah. It's funny because a lot of people that are tuning in and giving us the great comments, the questions, and everything like that, we appreciate you guys, and I know he does
Oh,
too.
for sure.
Every suggestion that you guys make sometimes come to fruition, as you
Yeah.
can see by the brush that we are currently testing right
Yeah.
now. And I do know that Jeremy did bring it up on one of our shows. So there's been a lot of cool stuff that has just generated from this show already. And we're only in
For
episode
sure.
20. It's amazing, man.
I
We've
know.
been,
Hasn't even been a year
yeah,
yet.
I can't believe it. We're coming up on a year, and it is going to be super cool. But we do have to show off something because we are up on the hour. I am sorry, Todd, for kidnapping you a little bit longer.
I'm
But
having fun.
all right, I appreciate that, bud. So we do have the charity build that we have to talk about, and basically, it is this right here. I'm going to bring it up on the screen just so we can show it off. And this is the charity build. Now it is super simple to get to. Any of the categories here. Let me just go to the homepage. So this is the homepage. When you go to CowRC.com, you can click on basically any of these. I'm just going to go on RC maintenance real quick because you got a whole bunch of wicked combos in here. Look at all those awesome combos. But then you can go into the charity build. Just click on the choose your option. And the cool thing about this is you got $1, $20, or $100, and it gets you a whole bunch of bonus stuff for free. So I'm going to go to the 100. I'm going to add it to the cart, and I'm going to get this off air, but I'm going to get this right now. So I'm going to continue shopping. And the description here, I just wanted to go over it real quick because he only has a few shows left. So your donations are going to go to the ASD Crawlers, which is for autism awareness, and it's a super great cause. He's doing a wicked build. He's putting all the best stuff to it. There's over $1,000 of CowRC maintenance goodies that's going to get thrown in with this. So you have not only a great chance to get some CowRC goodies, but it's going for a great cause. So if you do have an opportunity, please head on over to CowRC.com and throw in a couple bucks for the charity build. Even $1 could win you the entire prize. So definitely head on over there and take the one that you can afford, and please throw in. And don't forget, over beside Todd, we got the 10% off Cow Tech code. So if you can use the code, we'd appreciate it. Shows the show a little bit of love. And, we just love hearing from you and stuff.
I mean, the ASD crawler build. So that ends. The last opportunity you have to purchase tickets is December 22nd. So that's going to be your last day, and the drawing is going to be at the end of December. And we've already raised over $1,000 so far. So you have about 20 days, 19 days left to get in there. So help us raise as much money as possible for an awesome cause, and you have a chance to win a really awesome crawler with a lot of high-end stuff, some Team Garage Hack transmission, totally gone through with CowRC products, and a bunch of CowRC products to go with it.
Yeah, it's a win.
Fantastic cause.
Yeah, win-win, man. It's super cool to be able to be a part of that and just like contribute to a great cause. And you know what? Size Matters RC with Craig he's just killing it right now, and it's awesome to see. And if you want to see it from the inception, it is on the CowRC media page, so you can actually see the entire build process take place. And he's gonna put that truck through its paces and show you how to properly clean it using all the CowRC products. So it's going to be pretty cool that way too. So is Todd okay? There he is. All right.
Good.
All right. So we want to give you one last chance. If you're still on, hashtag, we're going to pull it up here. So we got the hashtag, just so everybody knows. We're going to give you a few seconds to get in on the draw. There's 16 people so far, so you got a chance. So while we're letting you do the sweetness here, I don't know, Tyler, if you see the starred comments in there.
I do. Yep, I see them.
There is a few, and right off the hop, has Tom won yet? Tom Armis or Amos?
Yes, he won. I think last week. I believe.
Okay, because he had a doozy.
So. Maybe I'm not. I might not be wrong about that, but it doesn't matter. It's okay if we have good comments. I had a comment that I starred, and this person did a few of them. I think 819 or 812 was his first comment. He's had a lot of good comments.
Yeah, Sean, right?
Yeah.
No, he's definitely in the mix there. And then, man, Dino, if you didn't win so freaking much, that cough cow caddy, I like that one too, man. But you ain't getting nothing today. Sorry, bud. Maybe next time. But are you thinking like you're thinking the one at 812? You said, right?
Yeah, that's my pick. Yeah.
Okay. So for the first mat, we got Sean. So Sean, congratulations, bud.
Yeah.
It was awesome. He brought that up with like,
yeah.
That's why I actually had Todd go back and slow it down. And instead we got a demonstration, which was even better. So everybody can go back, replay it, kind of see how he does just the dab, mixing it in, and how he actually coats the gear. So Sean, congratulations. That was definitely super cool.
Yeah, please reach out to us, Sean. You reach out to Adam or myself, and we can get your information. Send you a small carbon series mat with the magnetics. And thanks for introducing some conversation there. That was a nice topic to go into. We had not planned that, so that was actually one of the best topics of the episode. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. The Move Clean silicone spray is crazy. I've oversprayed on my driveway that is still repelling water for the last few months. It's crazy to see. Absolutely. And it's funny because like there's so many different uses other than RC that you can use it for. So we're coming up on 8 minutes of overtime. We're going to flip over to the draw. So good luck, everybody. And you have to message us still live on the show. So we're going to spin the wheel here. And good luck. We got 22 entries. Who's going to win mat number 2?
Let's go.
It would have been funny if it was. Hey, and he literally just got in. So I know you're still on here. So make sure you comment again. DH Trapper 78. I know you're on there. You're just messaging us in the OT session. So I know it's a little delayed on the live. So we got to give him a few seconds. There he goes. All right. So all you got to do, since you're a YouTuber, just reach out to either myself or Tyler, and we'll get you all straightened away.
Yeah, I think both our winners were YouTubers today.
Yeah, that is
congratulations, man.
Right. Yeah. So we're gonna remove that. We're gonna straighten everybody out again. Get us all looking good, man. Yeah, that was awesome. So Todd, man, I'm sorry for kidnapping you a little bit of OT there, but I appreciate you coming on, Cow Tech. We gotta have you on again because we got some unfinished business. I know you're gonna break the speed record with the boat. You're gonna make me beat Jeff Boulay, my buddy, for drag racing. So we're gonna have some fun with that, and we will talk a little bit more with the CowRC. Thank you for the awesome demo, the CowRC tips, and I'm sure it's going to make everybody just that little bit faster if you're looking for maximum performance in transmissions. So
yeah, no, awesome, Todd. You did an awesome job, man. It was so much fun getting to talk with you. I learned a lot. Honestly, this is probably the episode I've learned the most at because I have no idea what boats and drag cars do. So I've learned a lot today.
I'm
Yes,
super
absolutely.
thankful for you guys giving me the opportunity to come on, man. I watch your guys' show. I'm fans, so just know I'm a fan
Well,
of both
thank
of you
you.
guys, and you guys have been doing a killer job. And
Thanks, man.
Thanks,
it's
buddy.
it's something I can't always watch it live, but at work while I'm doing tech support or having to do paperwork, I have the phone sitting there and I watch the show, and you know
Sweet.
you guys from show one to now have just continually done a better and better job, and you guys have a great production, and just two awesome guys having a great forum talking about maintenance and products that help guys prolong
It's
their
been a
RCs and
blessing.
make
Well,
them
we
run better.
Yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you so
No,
much. And going actually and going into like the next episode, I wanted to hit on this real quick before we end off. So next episode, episode 21, which will be in 2 weeks, same time, same place,
17th. Yeah.
is going to have we're gonna have John Schultz with Associated Electrics on
Yeah,
the
man.
show. And we're also going to have Size Matters talking about the ASD charity as well. So it's going to be our last show for the year. So we're our you know, if we win the 2-week cycle, the show after that would be on New Year's Eve, and you know, it's just we're probably better off staying by ourselves and not being on TV on that day.
Oh,
So
you don't want the drunken Ross racing, that's for sure.
no, we're gonna leave that to ourselves, embarrass
Yeah.
ourselves. So that will be in 2 weeks, episode 21 with John Schultz and Size Matters, and we're gonna have an awesome last episode of the year. So you know, thank you so much, Todd. You were a heck of a guest today.
Yeah.
I just know I will definitely be tuning in 2 weeks because Mr. John Schultz happens to be one of my favorite humans in all of RC. So there will not be a way I'm going to miss that and be able to get on and harass Mr. Schultz.
It'll be
Yeah,
fun
he
for
tuned in
sure.
today, so that was cool.
That is one of my favorite humans. I love Mr. Schultz, man. John Schultz and his son, Jonathan Schultz, are two of the best people in RC you'll ever meet.
Yeah,
Nice.
and
Well,
he's a
good.
huge influencer too. I can't wait to have him on the show in 2 weeks. So get your calendars marked. 17th, we're going to be back at it live. And I got to thank all the viewers, man. We were over 40 strong for a
Yeah.
long while. And man, it was great to see all the comments flowing. I'm sorry if I missed a few. We tried to keep it like based on the content we were
There's
talking
tons.
about. And man, I appreciate what you guys are doing for us. And he just said big prizes for next show because it's going to be the last one for the year.
Mhm.
So we're going to go out with a banger, man. Can't wait. 2 awesome guests. And man, thanks.
Big giveaways.
Yeah, man, gotta love the giveaways. But we'll see you guys in a few weeks. And Todd, man, thanks again. And we'll definitely have to make plans for round number 2 for sure.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Thank
Let's
you,
do
guys.
it. I like it.
All right, man. You guys have a good night. And until then, we'll see you guys later. Bye
See you
for
in 2
now.
weeks.